freedom is the right to tell what they do not want to hear. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Tired of the same repetitive government narratives? Then wave goodbye to the distractions and rhetoric of corporate media. For this is Anti-Media Radio.
But I want to get the language right. The big government is in trouble.
You're all a bunch of slaves! Bunch of slaves!
What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
What's your definition of media?
And now, here's your host, S.M. Gibson.
My name is S.M. Gibson, and you are listening to Anti-Media Radio. It is April 5th, 2016. Justice for one, justice for all. What's good enough for you is good enough for me. Are you tired of the double standard? Of the elite, the rich, the powerful, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with being successful. There's nothing wrong with getting a lot of money. But what there is something wrong with is living by a different set of rules than everybody else. That's an injustice, that you can buy your way out of problems that the everyday man has. It's not right. And that's what has to change, and that's what we see with the Panama Papers. People allowed to do whatever they want. We see it, although I have my differences with Bernie Sanders, I think, at the root of the anger that's driving his campaign is this feeling of being slighted. Even with Trump a little bit, even though he's worth $10 billion, I think his is more directed at the established politicians, the polished Mitt Romneys. This is our puppet. He's a puppet. We're not really hiding it, so just deal with it. That's what we're at. That's here in America. That's the United States. 2 sets of classes, not India. The rules don't apply to them, only to you. I'm going to go now to our in-guest host, Mr. Kevin Knight. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, man, doing great.
Fantastic. And our sound director, producer, all-around man of many talents, the Renaissance man himself, Shannon, whose first cousins are twins that maybe, I think they're married to, I don't know. I don't know that much about them. Madden.
Hey.
What up?
What's going on?
What's going on, man?
Living the dream, dude.
That's pretty hippie-ish of you.
I don't know. I think I'd make a great hippie. Well, I'd shower a little bit more often, but
I've been listening to, I've just discovered a new band, and one of their lyrics is, I'm not a square, I'm not a hippie, but I'm not like you. I'm just an all-American.
It's deep.
With
It's
a
real
dream.
deep.
I know.
Y'all are both putting me to sleep already.
Yeah,
yes, I
we're
love
supposed
it.
to have energy. Come on, let's wake up. Come on, people. I've had a cup of coffee. Let's do this.
NPR'd out.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Let's talk about, before we get into the headlines tonight, before we get into the news, let's talk about this idea of justice for one, justice for all. But yet we don't see that in this country.
Justice
we
for
don't.
all.
We don't see that at all.
What country are you talking about, Jack? Because you ain't talking about America.
Because let me tell you something. We live in a country where we get on national television and have arguments about, and not only arguments on national television, but we have an actual overall national discussion about whether or not it was cool for a man to shoot and kill a 12-year-old child.
Look at these hands. Beautiful hands. Beautiful hands.
Like, that was an argument. Like, people were trying to justify that a 12-year-old boy holding a BB gun was shot and killed.
Well, the city of
and
Cleveland
the guy
already
got away
justified
with it because of the shiny pin on his chest.
The county prosecutor already justified it.
Do you believe for 5 seconds if that would have been Ronald McDonald Trump Jr. at 12 years old, and that would have happened, that cop would not have been under the jail?
Yeah. Race does play a little bit of a factor in that. So does socioeconomic status.
Then, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that is predominantly it, because let me tell you something. If that happened with Ben Carson's child, do you think that this world-renowned neurosurgeon, that's just going to go unnoticed? This guy with all this fame, all this attention, do you think if something happened to one of Obama's kids? You know, I think a lot of it is socioeconomic at the root of it. With that said, I think when you're on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, and you're black, oh man, everything goes.
Oh, it's way worse.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
It is
Oh,
way
yeah.
worse.
Absolutely. But I think socioeconomics play a bigger part in it than people realize.
Well, to a point, but then again,
but
you tell that
you're on
to
the bottom end, you're
successful
screwed.
Lawyer or doctor who happens to be a person of color who gets pulled over.
Oh, no. I
in
didn't
New York
say.
City.
Oh, no. I didn't say that
And
didn't
harassed.
happen. Didn't
And
say that didn't
did you-
happen.
well, and
of
again,
course,
yeah.
all that happens. Of course, I'm talking about 12-year-old child shot on camera.
Yeah. Now,
Maybe that would. Maybe I just. I
do
don't-
have to argue.
I think the money would influence that case more than skin color.
No, but at the same time, though, again, if it was a white child, don't you think that there might have been a moment's hesitation?
If it had been I'll say this.
More than half of a
are
second
you
that it took
serious?
for
Of
that cop to
course.
fly out of the
Of
car and
course.
start firing a gun?
If it would have been a little blonde-headed white girl, that girl would still be alive.
Sweetie, put the gun
And
down.
if she would have got shot, that guy would have been under the jail.
Taser.
It wouldn't even been a story. And here's what's so sick is that video would have been released, and everybody around the country would have been like, "Have you seen the video of the poor little girl getting shot? Oh my gosh, can you believe that horrible monster cop?" Monster. There's just, every so often they get a bad seed in there, and he was just one of them. But because he's a 12-year-old little black boy, man, can you believe that he was out there in that park? Can you just believe that he was out there doing that?
It was initially reported.
I mean, what's wrong with
That it was
people? How you justify that?
it was a black child with a gun, and then immediately it became a pellet gun, and then it became a toy gun. Now, regardless of, I don't know. We can talk about that ad nauseum, and we have quite a bit on this show, and the injustice that was done in that situation. I
think it was the worst
It sucks for
one.
the citizens of Cleveland. It really does.
You know what? Yeah, I guess, it's city of Cleveland. I don't know how you single that. For me, his family, first and foremost, and the people around him that were in his life. But outside of that, I think the whole country. Because
and bear in mind, I wasn't talking about the city government of
right,
Cleveland.
but
I'm talking about the citizens that had to watch that go down.
Gosh.
That even actually, as we
I can't imagine
broadcast
being there for that.
on this show, actually went and took it after it was that the cop was exonerated the first time. actually pretty much got another judge to force them to go back to trial. And of course, that's still
been in Birmingham, Alabama.
Still
We've seen our
off
share
and
of
on.
political media events. Speaking of which, the
Yes.
governor's about to be gone.
Yeah, they're giving this Joker 1 week. He's got 1 week to step down on his own.
Robert
or they're
Bentley,
gonna
Governor
move to
Robert Bentley,
impeach.
for those who do not know, the governor of Alabama has been involved in some scandalous events, should we say.
Yes.
Not to
With
be
Miss-
confused with his.
It could be an ABC miniseries. So
Oh man.
politics,
Bad.
politics,
It really could.
sex, money.
the South.
Yeah.
Who would play
Divorce.
Robert Bentley?
Oh, the sitting governor getting a divorce.
Who do you get to play Robert Bentley?
Surely we could get Lord Rothschild. I mean, he's probably not busy, right? To me, he's a dead ringer. Even more so than the
If we
Simpsons
weren't-
character.
He's not going to show up for something like that. He has people for that.
He's smart. No, he's smarter than.
But he's gone.
Oh, yeah.
He's gone. Nobody's got sympathy for that guy. The press conference was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I wonder
He
if-
is no Bill Clinton. I'll say that. That guy was terrified. Yeah. Clinton would have just looked him in the eye and been like, I don't know what you're talking about. He go, well, we heard the tapes, President Clinton. Yep. Sorry, don't see anybody's face on there. Can you prove it was my voice?
I can't recall if it was my penis or not.
Yeah. There was somebody else in the room while that was happening.
Could have been
too.
somebody else
And I was
penis.
talking
Could've
when it
been
was
anybody.
going on. My back was turned. Didn't see it. Can't talk about it. Don't know anything. U.S. politics, and that's the problem. We see different classes. I think we have the class of the super ultra wealthy, and I think we have the political class unto itself, and we have the ultra wealthy, and then I think from there you have probably the people that make somewhere from 250 to 500,000, and you have like the 100,000 range, and then you've got kind of the white middle class, what you think of as the suburban, Johnny All-American high school football kind of thing. And then you've got everybody else. So when you look at it, there's a lot of different class systems. And let me tell you something. If you're at the bottom, nobody cares about you.
Well, I don't know.
And that's the story. That's how it goes is, everybody does care about you. You're in America, and yeah, it's true. There is opportunity. I'm not going to pretend that there's not opportunity in this country, because there is.
There is.
Absolutely there is. And a lot of people have risen out of some pretty horrible circumstances that they would have never been able to do in other places. So please do not let what I'm saying come across as like I don't understand what we do have and the benefits that we do have here in this country, because a lot of people have it a lot worse. A lot of people have it much, much, much worse.
Right. And we complain a lot about a lot of stuff about that goes on in this country. And I know to the casual listener it may sound a little bit twisted, but it's not to be confused with hate for our country. We definitely love the folks and we love the country, but you can definitely hate your government.
No.
Excuse me.
I don't speak for me about loving the country, and
Well,
I'm going to tell you why I have an issue with that. Because
We're splitting hairs, but I'll let you clarify. I understand what you're.
Loving the country, it's like this ideology. I don't know. It's like you're idolizing. I don't know. It's just I can't do it. I can't go there.
I can understand that.
I know. I just don't care. I don't care. It's just some lines. It's just some lines that people like. Why should I care about the people of the United States more than I care about the people somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't
what's
think
different?
I don't think that's.
I think
those two things are mutually.
there is a difference between cultures, sure, but as far as a difference in our souls, as far as human beings, should we be treated fairly? Should we all be treated equally? Should we all be allowed to live freely? Yeah, I totally think that everybody should be. So why should I especially go, Man, I sure am proud of Hulk Hogan and hot dogs and baseball in America. Like, why?
Well, and for the record, you're probably, hopefully you're speaking to you guys out there more so than myself.
Am I just that apathetic? Or
no? But if you,
is there a point to what I'm saying?
That's what you believe, man. But if you're a people person and you love all people, it'll go naturally that you love the people in the country. And that's why when I say country, I'm not talking about the borderline of the country. I'm talking about the people in it. And as bad as we have it here politically, I would rather live here. Yeah, I know.
That's splitting hairs.
Right. I like the ability to. That's what we're doing here, anyways. That's how we got started with this part of the conversation. Anyways, was the almighty.
I'm just trying to figure out why and how you brought Hulk Hogan into your a bad analogy, because Hulk Hogan is a real American hero.
That's why I brought it up.
He's a little racist, but
No, that was a childhood illusion.
Well, actually, he believes that because he hangs
that
out
sex tape wasn't. That's for damn sure.
He thinks because he hangs out
Ric
with
Flair,
black folks,
he
can
was
do
a
that.
real hero.
That little Hulkster.
Ric Flair was a real hero. Woo! But not Hulk Hogan.
God, Ric Flair, man.
Stop. No, we're not going there.
Man, I just
Here it goes. I'm stopping.
Can we
this.
just go ahead and pull up YouTube videos of old Ric Flair?
Yes,
way
we
back
can,
in the day.
but we're not going to.
We can't do that now.
No.
Can I do it while we're doing the show?
No. Stop.
I'll be real quiet.
No, we're not doing it. I'm putting an end to the madness.
Stop the madness.
And just in my head right then, I said something about macho madness, and I just wanted to go off on a tangent about that. It just never stops. Just talk about wrestling all the time. All right. So, Kevin, how do you see us correcting this class system that has kind of been created here in the United States?
First off, can I go ahead and establish something right now? Is this anything that we're going to be able to vote our way out of?
No.
Yeah, okay. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Go ahead.
Not on a federal level. I think on local elections, I think it's different. I think there is more probably say in some local elections, and in some probably not so much. But I think probably for most of them, and I think the more local they get, probably the more. Who knows? But they're easy to rig, so who knows? Maybe. Everybody, and it's not, of course, some global conspiracy. Everything's rigged. It's just some, shady lawyer that's running for something's going to pull.
You pay off a national politician,
and that probably happens in most every election because that's people. They're corrupt and they're politicians, so they're going to play that game.
You pay off a national politician, though, and you're going to come off a lot more money. Local politicians can be bought for a pair of shoes. I'll send you the headline here in a minute. So there's that to contend with.
Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
Good times.
So, okay, I want to go ahead and talk about what we're talking about with the privilege, the class system, and we're going to see a shining example of the top of the class system. The Panama Papers.
Panama.
Yeah, I want to play it so bad, but we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Maybe at the end of the show. We'll see. Kevin, go ahead. And I think at this point, the Panama Papers, pretty much everybody knows about them than to go into the details of it. We're still obviously learning a lot because of the size of the dump. The data. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot here. Just what we found out so far, the biggest thing is, the tax haven scandal in Panama. And you're seeing, I like that Tina Turner was in there, and David Geffen was one of them, but most of it's not.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
He's mentioned in there.
But most of it is not U.S. citizens. There's
Not individuals.
yeah,
most
and,
of us would
and
recognize.
a lot. There's only like 400 or so far that have been recognized, and all of it seems fairly legit for the most part. Some of them, that do not appear to be, but a lot were done with dual, passports, and it seemed on the up and up. So we'll see, but a lot the global implications of what we know so far with this data drop is massive. We're seeing money being laundered, hidden, whatever, from all over the world, and it's going up as supposedly high as Vladimir Putin. Which, if that can be linked or not, some people are saying not, but when you look at the ties surrounding
his best friend.
Look, it shouldn't surprise
maybe
you.
not. Maybe
it shouldn't
not.
surprise you, but there's a lot of things about this actual whole project now, and I got to give credit to James Corbett, who put together a great piece, absolutely great, full of information. He breaks down the Panama Papers. There's been a few, it's only been out a few days, so there's multiple, a lot of sources
still a
trying.
lot of information being processed.
There is. There's a lot to go, and inevitably there'll always be the question of who benefits, cui bono, and it looks like so far that the majority of all the individuals, organizations, and such that are being targeted, tend to fall not friends or directly in the crosshairs of the State Department, the U.S. State Department. Curiously, interestingly enough, there's not any from my understanding, and again, a lot of this is secondhand. Like I actually know James Corbett, but James Corbett says that as he's breaking this down, that this is not looking at anybody in the United States. Curiously enough. Another interesting aspect that he brought up about this, and this is what concerns me, is that a lot of people don't know that there was an agreement that was trying to be reached between the banks of the world to essentially share information openly with each other, which screams there's a number of other reasons why that we should care about that. But the excuse is, of course, that they're going after money that's not being taxed, of course, which we know there's probably plenty of that out there, but in an attempt to go after this, they want to set up the infrastructure for a global tax schedule, global tax system.
Interesting.
Well, that's been one. It's not the biggest conspiracy that's been out there for a while, but that's been a theory in the back of a lot of people's mind for a long time, and it's been it's no surprise either with the U.S. of course pays for the brunt of NATO's budget. As well as the UN's budget. So it's not a surprise that we would have somebody pushing for another way to actually fund those organizations. Interestingly enough, we've heard Trump here in the last couple of weeks really bear down and be insistent that the U.S., first, NATO needs to be dissolved. And if it's not going to be so, then the U.S. definitely needs to take a much smaller role in paying for it, which of course I'm on board with there. But yeah, these papers, man, there is all kind of interesting stuff in there. When it goes to who and what, even George Soros's Open Society gets mentioned, along with the Ford Foundation. And you mentioned Putin a minute ago. And I'll let you guys. I got something else to pull up that I'd like to share. We're going to see a lot more. This is, I think, was it 3 or 8 terabytes? I forget exactly what the size.
That was a ridiculous amount.
Oh my!
I think it was 3. It was like somewhere over 3,
right?
Which is a lot of it. I mean, a lot.
Can you imagine how long it takes to actually go through all this material?
It was 2.6 terabytes.
Okay, well, man, we should have had a bet going.
We should. We both would have lost, right? $1.
The WikiLeaks was 1.7
closest
gigs.
Without going over.
Gigs, that's it.
Gigs.
Like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It slaughters it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it's nothing.
But you
it's like
raised,
a movie download.
You raised the question about Putin. It's funny, the reporting, you can actually go to, there's a website that's hosting all of the information. Of course, we can't see it all, but we can see excerpts. So this organization that is hosting, that took it upon themselves to put all this stuff together, has a website, which at first glance It looks really slick, really smooth, kind of gets you a crash course in what's going on with the whole deal. But a lot of they've got a couple of issues apparently with some of their writing, at least in some of the way that they target the people, those that are the subject of their inquiries, so to speak. Of course, Putin is Putin, right? You know, Putin's obviously, when it turns out it's relatives, it's actually some cousins of some cousins. I think they claim some childhood friends, but you know how politics works. It's no cleaner here.
Also,
than
a ski resort where his daughter got married is also a
Oh yeah,
beneficiary
Jeremiah
of
Wright
money.
going
Yeah.
from being your preacher for 20 years to being like, who? Who's
That
that?
guy. That guy.
Yeah, politics.
Kill Whitey.
You know.
no better here than it is in
Right, that's the same everywhere. It's universal.
It is, and that's the thing too when we talk about other
Right,
countries
left,
here.
country, it doesn't matter.
Right, and I think I can't, we can't repeat it too many times. That's for sure. That when we talk about a lot of this hate for
Because hey, look, what country has everybody praised?
the U.S.
Iceland. Iceland.
Well, that was interesting too. You're right, and now Iceland's
now
board is going down. That's another indication. That's
Iceland's
what I mean. when
prime minister.
State Department. These guys have not been friends.
Gone, daddy, gone.
Interesting how that works.
From an anonymous source, of course.
And of course, it is important to point out that use of these offshore tax shelters are legal in most societies.
Well, and see, that's the thing.
The thing is where's the money coming from, and why is it necessary to put it in an offshore account?
So it can't be taxed.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I
Well,
do
I
it
mean,
too.
I
I'm
mean,
not
who-
going to pretend I wouldn't, but
who
the
would not?
problem is why can't I do that now? Why can't I just make that happen now so I don't have to pay taxes?
And you
That's my thing about it.
And the amount that Vladimir Putin is
Because let me tell you
apparently-
something.
is
My
a-
money counts too. You know, that's the thing. That's what we're talking about in this country. Oh, you got a certain amount of money. Well, guess what? I got so much money, I don't have to worry about the rules. Ha ha ha.
Well,
I'm going to tell these fools I'm worth this.
Vladimir Putin,
But the rest
the
over
amount
here.
that is surrounding him right now is closing in on about $2 billion.
Oh, there's reports of him being worth upwards of 70-something billion. Nobody knows
that's
exactly how much he's worth.
That's incredible.
The reported worth is, pretty, not 70.
I mean, how do you
billion
even
dollars.
begin to figure that up between assets and intangibles and all sorts of, that's
Intangibles.
Yeah, he's
things
not
you
going
can't
anywhere.
touch.
Like he
yeah.
can basically, you know what? He can go ahead and hit save on his Pizza Hut address when it comes to the Kremlin, in case he's not moving anywhere
Right.
anytime
Just
soon.
chill.
Yeah, he can keep it saved on his computer.
Emperor for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's not going anywhere.
No, he is revered, widely revered as a god over there. And you ain't messing with that.
No, you're not.
No.
But there's a lot of people that hate him too, and that's the thing. I think you get both sides of it with Vladimir Putin. I think in his own country, he's a vicious guy. I think he shuts down dissent pretty swiftly, and I don't think he makes any secrets about it. That you better not rise up against the iron fist of Vladimir Putin. Because it'll be the last thing you do.
It's acquaintance for you.
But on an international scale,
He's one of Donald Trump's heroes, isn't he?
They claimed that they're really good friends. They got to know each other. Donald says in the green room. It turned out, from my understanding, that actually they were not even in the same room. They were actually in two different countries when that interview took place, in which Donald said that he had met, became friends with Vladimir, but.
Oh, that's just details.
Isn't that funny?
That's
Right.
details.
but I tell you what, on the flip side of that, I think Vladimir Putin is a master when it comes to spinning his story and on an international front, as far as playing the global chess game of politics on a global level. I think we've seen it with his involvement in the Middle East. Really, he was invited to go into Syria. He's already
Invited being the key word.
Exactly. He's already been like, okay, we're leaving now. The whole Snowden thing made him look like he's this huge champion of civil liberties, which
freedom of the
clearly,
press,
yeah,
press rights,
which
and
he's
stuff.
not
Right,
at
obviously.
all.
No, but you're absolutely right. And the U.S. is by far not
But
the only country.
He's so masterful at playing the game of making himself look good on a worldwide level. He plays the good guy, but you know, I know there's people in Russia that like him. So if they're happy, knock yourself out, I guess.
Well, if they're happy, what else are they going to do?
right,
You know, I mean,
they
there's
don't have
not a lot of
choice.
fun. No,
But I know that there's a lot of there's a lot not going right.
and there's
with
a lot
that.
of but there's risk aside. There will always be groups and people that are pestering, that are agitating, that are trying to advance to twofold, to either stop the state, slow down the state violence, or at least try to defend liberty and what liberty's there. In fact, we had a lady who's the head of the Russian Libertarian Party of Russia. Isn't that cool? She actually came and spoke at the Libertarian National Convention here 2 or 3 years ago that I was able to attend. She came all the way from Russia and came out and spoke. And what's interesting was she was actually even here she had to watch her back. And she was actually a friend of mine who's Russian, who's been in the party for a long time, Mr. Pauly Cannoli, approached her speaking Russian, and Pauly has a real distinct look. And she actually at first acted like she was genuinely, even after the initial short discussion, she even acted as if she thought it possible that, he could be actually working for intelligence services. And I say that, I had to stop and say that correctly, because it seems so unreal to me to have to be in another country, but in a reversed way, and I actually fear that the government could be after you in a foreign country. And by no means do I think she has. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a reason to really, to not be. She seems like.
I just said it a moment ago. He is revered as a god over there, and
Unfortunately,
of course, that has positive connotations and negative connotations.
There's a lot to to
And
fear.
she was so afraid that the wrath of God was going to find her all the way over here on these shores.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that's power.
The man
That's
is the man is a psychological as far as what he's done.
And yet you get
in the youth camps and things like that. He's really got, just borne down on them psychologically.
Well, he's KGB too. I mean, this is not.
Oh yeah, he's a super smart guy.
I wouldn't play Risk with a guy. Oh no.
But you get people praising him because of the way he behaves outside of his borders, and I think that's a double-edged sword once you start going down that road, because he is no champion of anyone.
Of human rights, not
correct.
He's a statist. He's an authoritarian, and it seems that's what Russia has been for a long time.
He is a way better marketer than anybody.
He makes it look good, doesn't he?
He does.
Leaders
he does.
like
He's
Cologne, anyone?
He's riding bears through the middle of the street or whatever he does, doing karate with penguins or something.
He's judo. It's
yeah,
judo.
like resurrecting Elvis and having karate matches with him.
Speaking of,
it's a way better shtick, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Did you guys happen to catch the article or the story? I don't believe it was April Fool's. I had to actually look. But apparently John Kerry is saying that they have an agreement with with Syria, with the powers that be, for Assad to step down.
Oh, yeah, that's supposedly the deal. That's what they're saying.
And apparently, speaking of Russia, they were also involved in those negotiations as well.
By request.
Yeah.
I believe we have a story up from a few days ago on the website, theaimsidemedia.org. I don't remember.
And how much was it?
Was.
I didn't see that mentioned. Not that I watch a whole lot of mainstream media, but because of what we do, unfortunately, you have to have it on every now and then. I've not seen very little discussion about Assad stepping down. Have you guys seen anything?
I haven't. I go through my waves of watching corporate media.
And wouldn't you think this would be something?
I'm on one of those downtimes. I haven't turned it on, or I can only take so much of the.
You're a lot less
surface.
stressed today. It seems like.
Yeah, I can only take a lot less of it. I can only take so much of that circus. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. That's the unfortunate thing. You don't know what that's why I try to watch it, because I do want to know what the
I wonder what
narrative
Megyn
is.
Kelly's thinking about right now.
I feel like it is. I don't think, there's people that are like, I can't believe you watched that. It's like, there's nothing wrong with knowing what the narrative is. You need to know what their game plan is so you can formulate your game plan.
This is very true.
As far as getting the truth out there, as far as combating the information that they're telling people. You need to know what they're saying and you need to know what the truth is. Whether what they're saying is the truth or whether what they're saying is not the truth. And if it's not the truth, you need to let people know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm not one of those people that say don't watch it. I'm just tired of it right now. It's annoying.
Well, if you do happen to watch it, just remember what you're watching. It's all filtered for your consumption.
Yep.
Sure is entertaining sometimes.
It really is.
But it is fear-driven. I'm not going to go down that road tonight.
The song Guerrilla Radio sits in the back of my mind. Is Rage Against the Machine, Guerrilla Radio. Topic of great video. Topic of the same discussion.
Way to drop your phone, Shannon.
I wonder how much Sean Hannity's haircut costs. That is an expensive
Oh, man, that
haircut.
is. That's a nice helmet.
Yeah. I mean, that's dreamy.
That is a beautiful
And
helmet.
that man could walk through
Helmet
a
of
tunnel,
hair.
and he'd come out on the other side just looking.
That's the thing about it. It's so plastic, especially like everybody's kind of got their own. Like
Speaking of Megyn Kelly,
of shtick, like it's everything. So, but it's not even that. It's like look at MSNBC. Like they've kind of got their own niche as well. Like everybody's got their own kind of niche.
you talking about the Rachel Maddow robot they have? Yeah.
Okay, so this is how I see it. Like the go-to on Fox is kind of the blonde bimbo look, but did you hear her
Don't you
speak?
dare call Megyn Kelly a bimbo.
But this is how they do it. This is how
Donald.
they sell. Did you hear her? She's smart. She's a smart one.
She's programmed to be smart.
She's smart. She's one of them.
Yeah, she's programmed
She's
to be
okay.
smart. There's no way she's real.
And that's how Fox. But I don't. Some of them people are just babbling, like they don't even know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Megyn Kelly had the audacity one time to talk about how Jesus was white. I wanted to clothesline her.
You mean he's not?
That is correct.
What about Santa Claus?
I do not know. I have no opinion.
Santa Claus has to be white. Haven't you ever?
No,
seen
he's
him on a
definitely
cup bottle?
not. I would assume like Inuit.
Well, as soon as we put that damn
'Cause
wall
that's
up,
told-
he's
yeah,
not
up
coming back
north.
in here anyways.
Yeah.
I would assume. Can you say Eskimo
We
anymore?
won't
Is that a
as soon
bad
as we
word?
Get, as soon as we get that wall up.
racist.
Is it? I can't say that.
Racist.
Okay.
Well, this day and age, you
I
almost
don't
have
know.
to be.
I don't know the word.
You almost have to assume it is until proven otherwise.
Well, okay. I'm gonna say Eskimo asterisk with an asterisk next to it because I don't know what the correct term is and would use that in its
You
place
just have to do one of these.
if I knew the term.
Just have to
Yeah.
do one of these.
So as not to offend.
Did you hear that
anyone.
crashing sound? That's our
But
Alaskan
I'm gonna
market
do-
bottoming
That's
out
it.
right now.
So, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say Eskimo
All
for
right.
all intents and purposes. So, I
don't-
believe Santa Claus looked like an Eskimo. The end.
I don't
And
know,
that is
I don't
how
know you right
we
now.
tie a important story about culture into a meaningless story about Santa Claus.
It was about Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly's programmers were a little off that day,
Nothing I
but
said was
they have
meaningless.
corrected the program. She's stronger and faster now.
Is she? I don't know. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched her. But yeah, okay. So, anyways, Fox, the blonde-headed. That's their kind of go-to.
And the loud, angry white male.
All
Let's
over
not-
the place.
Let's not forget about
And
Bill
there-
O'Reilly. And
there
Hannity.
is the angry white male. Like that's what it's patterned after. The all America male, because you've got the angry white man and you've got the blonde cheerleader.
And whatever Glenn Beck was.
Yeah, what was he?
That dude.
I don't know what he was.
Hey,
I don't
was-
know what he is.
I was actually at the. We went to the 912 project, the very first one Beck had at Washington D.C. And man, interesting to say the least. I rode the Beck train, but I've been off that.
You
for
did?
some time. Oh yeah. He's one of my main influences, and he actually. Hey, there was a time when he
Kevin!
was.
the very
Kevin.
look, in Kevin's defense.
Kevin's about to
in
get put on.
Hey, in Kevin's defense, when he first came on the radio, when he very, very first came on the radio, there was something really.
I know.
There was.
That's
I
what
thought there was candy in that van too. There is no candy in that van.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
Yeah,
flesh.
there's a lot
gut
of
tape.
that. Okay.
Hey, well, there's
Yeah.
the Glenn.
Hey,
Beck-
my dad said 30 years ago, he said Bill O'Reilly was good.
Yeah.
He said, but he goes, that was
I
a
could
long.
see that. I
he
could
said
see
that was
that.
a long time ago.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well,
yeah,
the
he's-
Glenn Beck now is a different guy than Glenn Beck was. He actually, there was a time where he really covered a lot of material and was not he was not so spiritual. He's not going, if that's your thing, hey, that's cool. I'm a Christian, not a very good one whatsoever, but I don't listen to a lot of, I guess, Christian talk radio. So if that's your thing,
Is that what
good.
Glenn Beck is? now?
Well, he's. I have to be honest with you. I have not listened to him.
I
for
tried
quite
to
some
listen
time.
to one of the deals with Ted Cruz because I heard kind of like what he was saying, and it just sounded so crazy. I was like, I'm going to try to listen to this and try to gauge what kind of thing this actually is. I couldn't do it. I can't stomach Glenn Beck. I wanted to get through it. Couldn't do it.
I haven't even listened to him in so long. It's
it was just to me. It was just a clip on YouTube, and I couldn't even finish it. I
Well,
just do not like Glenn Beck.
I don't blame you. There's a lot of people who've
I don't
lost
trust
a
him.
lot of. He's lost a lot of fans. That is definitely for sure. I'll be honest with you. He's led a lot of people. I know a lot of libertarians that were conservatives that did the same thing that I did. The movement through the Tea Party and from the right to the libertarians. And I'll be honest with you. I'm glad that I went. If I'd not gone, I would not have been a John Birch Society member. Wouldn't have found the Libertarian Party. Wouldn't have found
statist.
these type of anarchist type principles. So
Just worship.
you guys are
Assimilation.
Love your
you
country,
guys don't know
boy.
what status means,
Resistance is futile.
but resist we must.
You need me to tell you what it means?
No, I mean, Alex.
There's a mirror right over
People,
there.
people live in it. People live in it. I want to see people live it.
Burned.
It belongs to Scott.
You feel that burn?
That is so crazy. And I'll have to ask the question again. Would you vote tomorrow for if your state held a referendum in the state of Alabama, would you vote to get rid of it?
I didn't say. Look, we had the voting conversation.
but I would be a statist for advocating that you should.
Oh.
No.
Is this going to turn into one of those?
Yes.
Go ahead and call Austin Peterson. Let's get him on the phone.
Get him on the
Let's
phone.
get him on the horn.
No.
Let's ask him too.
Let's just turn this into a Royal Rumble.
You know that guy is actually sounding better than all the other. Like even that, he sounded better than
I called it from the very beginning.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, I
he
can.
doesn't sound terrible.
He's got a lot more practice.
Now I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm not-
and I think you hit the nail on the head. He's got a lot more practice, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
And look, I will talk to Austin. I'll have Gary Johnson on, Jill Stein, any candidate, anytime that wants to come on. We've already had John McAfee on the program.
Awesome interview.
So we've had Vermin Supreme on the program, as a matter of fact.
My
So
personal choice.
we will literally have any presidential candidate on the show. But with that said, talking about Libertarian Party, I know this sounds terrible, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe talking about it's the thing to do so we can get these ideas out there. I don't belong to the Libertarian Party. I don't care. It just seems like another allegiance to something. And it seems like talking about the Libertarian Party, personally, it's just like, guess what? Those guys are not going to win. Who cares?
Because that's the same. That is
That
not
is like, to
to
me,
win.
that is like discussing Troy State every year, being like, so what do you think Troy's chances are of getting a national title? Like that, it's the same deal.
I don't think anybody actually believes that the Libertarian Party is going to win. You know, we advocate, a lot of us talk about standing up and standing for your principles, and a lot of us consider, so we have a lot of fans out there and followers that consider themselves principled anarchists or principled libertarians, and even some principled classical liberals.
I think it's, but look, I think it's great that somebody in any aspect is
Sticking their middle finger up.
sure
Toward the
sure
machine, yeah.
sure. It all, I understand. Look, I know I'm a pessimist. I get it. And to me,
It's easy to be a pessimist.
It is.
And I don't think you're wrong.
To me,
in this current climate, and political climate, it's very, very.
I don't
easy
see
to
it
be
as pessimism. I see it as realism.
Right.
And I see it for what it is. And look,
Spoken like a true pessimist.
right. I'm not going to say, in all honesty, that's not what it is. So ignore what I think about it. And I encourage everybody out there, if you're out there right now and hearing me go, oh, screw you, libertarian, ignore me. Don't listen to me. Go do your thing. I encourage everyone to do their thing unless they're supporting some of those people, but that's a whole different story. But no, if you're supporting anything that is pro-freedom and that is a step in the right direction, by all means, please go do it. Support whatever, help it grow. I personally just sit back and go, but no, look, ignore me. I am no preacher to follow, or
But yet, on the other hand, that's exactly what you're doing. I know. Don't get me wrong. I know you're not saying, "Hey, I'm right."
Oh, I know,
I'm
it's
right, follow
completely
me.
apathetic.
No, but you've got a reason
But it's
for
not.
doing this.
It's not. What am I doing right now? What do I do every day? Work with some great, intelligent, wonderful people at Anti-Media and me.
I was going to say keeping it real, 100,
Well,
24/7.
that's what we try to do around here.
I thought that's what you did every day.
It usually works out about 4 to 7% of the time, but
So your wife walks in and makes you do something like take out the trash or something.
Look, is the idea? I mean, the anti-media. Don't get me wrong. You guys are pushing ideas. So we are the anti-media. Everybody associated. Well, I mean, we have an agenda, and we are trying to push it collectively, and it's a peaceful agenda, and it's an educational agenda as well. And it's a.
I think that's fair to say. I do think there is an agenda to educate people. I think, to me, I feel what I'm doing is not necessarily, I'm not to educate specifically, but to be what college is supposed to be about, is to say, think for yourself. All I'm saying is, people have different theories on all kinds of stuff. People want to sit here and bicker about vaccines and bicker about chemtrails and bicker about all this stuff. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It does, and I know whatever. But that becomes these dividing lines from people that want more freedom, that want more liberty. But they get in these arguments with each other and they block themselves off into these small segments. If all these people would come together and get over their petty differences, the change they can make would be unbelievable. This country could turn around tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. But everybody's got to go, oh gosh, but he said chemtrails. He said chemtrails. Who cares? I don't care.
You're right.
Either way.
Well, I'll tell you, the left is good.
Knock yourself out. It's a free country. Believe it. Don't believe it. Do whatever you want. It's the idea of this country is supposed to be freedom. That's what we're all here to promote. That's how I feel. And to me, I know it's not a perfect world. So, from pessimist to optimist, keep it real. So, throw in your 2 cents to that, Kevin.
Well, I'll go back. I know we've had this debate a couple times, but where we first got started off on this in reference to the Libertarian Party, the Libertarian Party, even discussing the Libertarian Party is you made the comment that you don't think anybody can win, and you're absolutely right.
Tell me what I just said that you disagree with.
I disagree. The whole scheme of it. I disagree with the idea that you covered a lot of material there, but from the beginning, I disagree with the idea that the Libertarian Party is not that discussing it is the equivalent to I forget what analogies you use, but
who knows what nonsense that's
right. But no, I completely disagree. But I think it's your understanding of what the party is about and why it's here, and that's mainly. I agree with a lot of There's not a lot. Me and you are on par with a lot of other things that you were saying. So we're on of light mind about that. But that's the biggest thing I disagree with is about the spreading of ideas. 20 years before the shots were first fired in the American Revolution, they say the revolution had already started in the hearts of minds and men. And that goes to show you the ideas come and they
I think we're
stay with
seeing that
listening.
now in this country.
Exactly.
It's
And
just slow going.
it is, and we need as many voices making that statement as possible. We saw this with Dr. Ron Paul, and how many anarchists. And when we say anarchists,
I don't know if it's my age. Or I don't know. I believe it was. I don't think it had anything to do with my age. I think that was when that ignited what's happening right now. I believe. I think Ron Paul sat there for years, along with a few other people in Washington, screaming their heads off, and nobody listening to them.
Ron Paul was actually
for decades.
Ron was helped out getting into office in Texas by the one of the Texas chapters of the John Birch Society, which I'm glad to say was as a member of that group as well. But
and after 30 or 40 years or whatever it was, though,
and look, he set it up.
It took the generation. It finally caught up to him, and these young kids were like, "What that guy's saying."
You've got to take the long view, and that's what he did. That's what all the great minds
took forever.
do. Right. Well, I mean, what can you do? We're not talking about returning liberty to a small
and once
village
it
in
started,
Mexico.
Once it hooked, it started. And I really believe, for as crazy maniacal as I believe Donald Trump is, I believe that what we're seeing is a sign finally people have had enough. I think they're completely blinded in the person they are looking to, and that is a completely different topic for a completely different time. But I think that frustration that you're seeing from people, I think you're seeing it from the Bernie Sanders people.
Ben Carson.
Hey,
that's
look,
the reason that Ben Carson stuck around so long.
To sit here and to prove me wrong about what I just said, and I'm about to completely contradict myself, but what's new? Gary Johnson, I saw, was polling an 11% in one poll. So, yeah, take that, SM.
Well,
Take that argument.
and those numbers may fluctuate too. When
of course,
when all of the pieces of the puzzle are put together, both the GOP and what's going on in the Democratic primaries, I think you're going to see.
What's Wisconsin?
I don't know. I'm really curious to see what third party candidate is going to emerge. Gary Johnson's definitely been mentioned a lot. Of course, there is. Always that whisper and a rumor that old Jesse the Body may jump into the fray.
And one of these days, I'm actually going to get around to answering that question that you asked me, actually, about what I disagree with and why about the party. But that just goes to show you that that's not the goal of the Libertarian Party. While we surely hope somebody wins, is to spread the idea of liberty. That is all it is. That hey, if we get in office, great. We'd love to get in office. Why? Because we can spread the idea of liberty. It's only a platform, just as we have here. It's another platform. If the death by 1,000 cuts, the state is smashing society. It's not just the state here and our lives in the United States. It's smashing the society of the whole world, essentially. We've got no choice. If you're going to be on one side or the other, if you're going to resist, then you've got to resist. And death by 1,000 cuts, it has to be. So
okay, let me ask you this then, and maybe this is conspiratorial a little bit. Maybe I probably don't even believe this myself. So it's really just a question, I guess, more than anything. In your opinion, on do you believe? I think they have, but the government has figured out that there's this resistance building and there's this anger within the country, and they want to, it's not that they want to prevent it from organizing, they want it to organize under them. and make sure they can control that anger and galvanize it. I think we saw it a little bit with Paul Ryan in the 2012 election. They started kind of hinting him as, oh, he listens to Ayn Rand, or,
Right.
reads Ayn Rand. And
He's still full of
right. He's Ron Paul, everybody.
right. Well, no, I don't think it's a conspiracy whatsoever. Who knows the things that we do and we don't know. But no, I think you're completely right.
And they're using it as a tool, as saying, maybe, I don't know, Bernie and Trump. Trump especially. Zbigniew
Brzezinski, again, the head of one of the heads of the CFR, a big trilateral commission guy. He actually gave a speech it's been 2-3 years ago, where he actually spoke about this same subject. And he said that, yes, that globally, we're seeing a resistance globally and here in the nationally of people that are waking up, that are using the internet, that are posing a resistance. It was no surprise that the majority of Ron Paul's followers, for example, were found online. And then when we saw these polls that are not being reflected Ron's supporters, it's because why? They're talking to people that are not online. They're talking to a lot of people that are getting most of their information from your everyday national television shows instead of where the internet, for example.
You mean like The Apprentice on NBC?
Let me tell you something.
Exactly.
The internet has changed the game. It's changed everything.
It really
and
has.
it's a double-edged sword, because now all your communications are monitored.
Mm-hmm.
The government can keep up with whatever you're doing, track you.
What you're shopping for,
That's
what you're
it.
listening
Everything.
to.
They can get your habits.
Where you're going.
They know what you're
you've
saying
been.
to your grandmother.
They can visit your house and
So, but the flip side is there's people communicating from all over the world, sharing ideas that have never been, this freely, this quickly, to exchange information. We can see stuff happen in real time through social media. Everything's changed. We're starting to get the real side of story, because once a story breaks, we're getting it as it happens, not the government narrative when they've had time to figure out their plan. I tell you what, we're going to finish this conversation and get into more headlines in the next hour. Right now, I want to go ahead and play a song by our good friends, Foreign Sons, who actually do the intro song for us here at Anti-Media Radio. This is We Are the Storm by Foreign Sons. Welcome to Hour 2 of Anti-Media Radio. I am SM Gibson, and you can check us out always at www.ucy.tv/TAMR at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can also catch our replays on YouTube by searching for Anti-Media Radio. Joined in the studio with Kevin and Shannon.
What's up,
Gentlemen,
what's up?
Hour 2.
Good to be back.
Well, you know, we got a little bit into the political discussion in the last hour, toward the end of the last hour. There is a story up on Anti-Media right now, why Hillary is to blame for Donald daddying it up. Why y'all think that is?
They've been
NAFTA.
They've been palling around forever.
What do y'all think about the his plan? Have you seen the final plan that how we're going to fund the wall? Or excuse me, how?
Oh, yeah, I have.
How
yeah.
Mexico is going to fund the wall.
Yeah, actually, what they want to do is extort. They want to literally
There
extort.
you go.
They're going to extort
I was waiting for somebody to bring that word up.
Mexico.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, the plan is
Daddy
actually
would do
to-
no such thing.
Oh, yes, he would.
Go for it, Kevin.
Yeah.
The plan is to basically to halt all monies being sent out of the country to Mexico from assuming Mexican citizens, and actually punish and extort Mexico and get said funds, lock them up, use them to build the wall.
Yeah. So all they have to do is agree to sign on to build this wall, and then the money can flow, right?
Of course.
Yeah, the transfers can go through. Now, bear in mind, these transfers are not, and the numbers are kind of shady on it because we don't know exactly how many Mexican illegal immigrants are wiring money back home. There's also Mexican nationals who are here legally sending money back home that are here on work visas or whatever. There are also citizens, American citizens, that have ties to Mexico that send money back there. There's also a lot of other people other than Mexico or Mexicans crossing the border and wiring money to various different places. So the numbers are kind of a little bit skewed on that, but that's the plan. That's Daddy's plan. Daddy's gonna extort the wire transfers. There will be no wire transfers to Mexico. We're just going to simply halt it altogether. Either that, or they could build the wall for us. At whatever cost they need to.
Well, and there's more to it. It goes a little further, but there's a rule actually under the USA Patriot Act. Man, what a horrible rule. You know what that? USA Patriot Act. Of course, this was passed. It was actually on the desk of President Bush. It was probably on the desk of Clinton also. We're just waiting for an excuse to get passed. But, of course, this was passed in the days and hours shortly following 9/11. But Trump.
Real quick, I just want to, while you have the talk mentioned, the original kind of outline sketch of the Patriot Act was originally written right after Oklahoma City, and it was co-sponsored with Mr. Joe Biden, who, of course, was the vice president. That's the worst thing that I've ever heard about. I just can't believe they would do that thing.
Of course,
Can't
right?
believe they would do that. And this guy helped come up with it, so give me a break.
Of course, right? I had no knowledge of it. But yeah, the USA Patriot Act, Trump actually wants to take a line out of there, out of this anti-terrorism law, but actually cut off a portion of the funds sent to Mexico through the money transforms. And then they actually wants to, get this, here's the kicker now. All this can be eliminated. The threat to do all this will be withdrawn completely. And I quote, if Mexico makes a one-time payment of $5 to $10 billion to pay for the border wall.
Okay, yeah,
That is what
Like
Trump said.
straight up Sopranos.
Extortion. Like, hey, listen, we're going to put this damn wall up. We're going to keep the money. You're not sending any money back. And here's the, but
That's America.
And here's the
right
thing,
there.
though. Here's the thing. He literally, this could quite possibly collapse the Mexican economy single-handedly. This could actually happen. And then we talk
And
about
you know what
civil
this-
war
No,
that comes as a result.
Wrong. No civil war. What's the solution? Incorporate Mexico.
Oh, right.
Well,
And-
while we're
and
at it,
we'll bring them into the United States of America.
that's it.
Completely. Well, like there would still, trust me, there would still be a civil war. There would, I mean, there would be conflict, but that's still potentially a long ways away. But back to the absurdity of thinking that Mexico is just going to turn around
As
and bend over.
crazy as all that sounds, like, with everything we're seeing with Trump, it's all actually on the table.
Does Trump think that Mexico actually has $5 to $10 billion to just fork over like that? I mean, that's the biggest kicker to me.
Well, they won't if we cut off all the money transfers.
But so much of that money, they still won't have that money. That money, that is such an argument that
Either way, either way, they're screwed in this one.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a great deal for them, does it?
No, and who would? Nobody would. Nobody would do that.
It's a hell of a way to treat your neighbor, especially after you already kicked him out of half his lawn. That's another story for another day. We'll do American history some other episode.
Hey, man. Well, if we want to go back and how far do we want to go back with people's property rights and wars and
True that, yeah.
Spanish-American War?
It all belonged to the dinosaurs.
So okay, we
at one point in
went
time.
we went down the Trump path. Shannon, tie Hillary into this because it's kind of easy.
I don't want to tie Hillary to nothing.
Hillary needs to burn, dog.
Oh,
And that just
You'll be
amazes
all
me
right.
that she is this close to becoming president of the United States, just as close as Donald freaking Trump. It's crazy.
Yeah, but hers is way more predictable.
Well, Hillary, we can always do we start talking about Honduras? Do we talk about NAFTA?
Oh, the list goes on and on.
Do
with
we
her.
talk about, there's so many reasons that we also have the Mexican economic refugees that we have now. And a lot of it's largely by policy, by politicians that we have trusted and put our faith in.
Oh, she's certainly a pawn of the
Save us,
oligarchy.
save us.
She is a pawn of the oligarchy. Make no bones of it.
So, how many people do you know personally that have lost their job due to immigration? Just throwing that out there. Personally.
Yeah, I've never thought about it.
Have you ever lost a job because of immigration?
I don't know of. I've never. I don't think you're talking to the wrong person. I think. I wish I could give you a better answer. I think what you're trying to say is no one knows anyone that has lost a job to immigration.
There's plenty of jobs out there that of the illegal immigrants that I know personally, and I know a few because again I do work in the construction trade, and it is that's where you're going to find a lot of illegal immigrants will go towards manual labor type jobs. Some of them even skilled labor. We've kind of seen a current wave of that, and they're not all Mexican. First, right off the bat, not every brown person you see that looks south of the border is from Mexico.
I just want to make sure with your accent, you're not an illegal human being, are you?
No.
You're not. You're not an illegal person.
I don't. But then again, I mean, what is legal?
That's the most ridiculous, absurd thing in the world to me. Like, it genuinely is. I get it. We have to have laws. Can't let everybody. Yeah. I've heard the story.
Yeah.
I've heard it all. I get it. I've heard your stories.
Yeah.
That's fine. But really,
What gives us the right?
you're an illegal person. Ship them out. Get them out.
Yeah.
Box cars. Put them on them.
Mm-hmm.
Ship them out. Get them.
Put
Like,
them
people
on the
think
nearest
that.
donkey.
That's crazy.
Send them right back down there and make them build
That's
a wall on the
crazy.
way out.
I just don't get it. That's an illegal person. Yeah, screw them. Let them starve.
And how are we?
They
legal?
should have been born here.
How are we legal?
They should have been born. Like, that's what people think. That's what people think.
I
That's
mean,
nuts.
I was born here in America, but eventually,
Who cares? It's a piece of land.
I can trace it far back and realize
If
that
I want, it's a piece of
all
land.
my people are not originally from here, with the exception
Who
of because I do
cares?
have.
If you want to go get a job, in France, go get a job in France. You want to deal with them people? Go for it. I don't mind it. Kind of like Paris.
It's beautiful.
Why can't people just go? Why can't they be free to go here and there? What's wrong with that philosophy?
Some people don't want you there.
And yeah, that goes back into the always popular rant by me, S.M. Gibson, about fear. Oh, it's fear. It's fear. We get it.
Wonder what else we missed out on because of fear.
Who knows? Lock your borders. Stay scared. Build a wall. Let everything you do be recorded, monitored. We need access. We're going to keep you safe. It's all for the good. And we are going to bring on a caller now from Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to the program. Thank you for listening to Anti-Media Radio. I'm your host, S.M. Gibson. Tell us your name and what you want to talk about tonight.
It's my boy Justin.
Hey, how are you? My name's Justin.
Justin, I called it, man. How about that?
How about it? Predicting the future.
Yeah, that's a powerful skill to have. I actually just saw Kevin's Facebook post, so I have not. I just got out of a meeting, so I'm not familiar with the conversation up to this point. So I have missed that. But I've listened to past shows, and I tried to call him before, so I'm a little bit familiar with it.
Yeah, you called it
But if
like a couple of months ago. And
well, I tried to call him before, but someone was talking for a super long time, so I didn't get in.
Gotcha.
It's all good though. I'm not important. I just want to call in.
No.
Shout out Kevin.
None of us are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the beautiful thing. None of us are. I did notice that tonight's post though. I saw the picture Kevin shared. It said the two-party system, and without rambling, I would make an observation on that. What I've noticed about the two-party system is that it seems that everyone hates it, but I think a large group of our population is okay with it when it works for their purposes. So folks who like
in all honesty, is there a large percentage of our population do you really believe is benefiting from the two-party system? I know there are certain...
No, they're not. I don't think they're benefiting, but I think, for instance, like an example like Obama in 2008, huge crowds, huge percentages of key demographics, love the guy. Even now, he has a 50% approval rating, which is, for your last year in office, that's better than average.
A lot better.
He's looking better every day with these lunatics we got, and I can't stand Barack Obama. And what we're seeing, it's just like, well, we're going into World War III. I guess Obama wasn't so bad.
Yeah. A third term of Obama would probably beat most, if not almost all, of the candidates out right now. But the people. But look, some of the same people that were happy now, they're Bernie supporters. They hit Hillary. On the flip side, I know Trump's gotten these so-called disengaged voters involved, and what have you. But I think even people who are really angry at the two-party system right now, there is a guy in the past. It could have been Obama, it could have been Bush, it could have been Reagan, that they really did like. But very few people I've met like a lot of politicians. In fact, most people hate most politicians. So it does seem to reason that most of the time, most people are not happy with the system. But there does seem to be this overlap of bias where people are more accepting of it or willing to tolerate it when it kind of, when it's sort of their guy. So evangelical Christians can sort of just go along for the ride with Bush, even as spending goes way up in certain areas. And, people who never voted for before voted for Obama because they're part of a certain demographic. Those are just the stats. And Bernie supporters, likewise.
I think Obama and Trump's campaign is very similar. And I know that's not going to make sense on the surface of that statement, but both have resorted to a lot of emotion. It is an emotional vote, and it's like they've swung from the pendulum from one side to the other. It was, far progressive left, intellect. This is what we're going to, the first black president, we're going to make history. Let's do this, everybody. Let's make history together. And it was very emotional. And when he won, people were on TV crying and, this whole to-do. Now, Trump, it's completely an emotional vote. It's just on the complete opposite spectrum of the political scale. But it's completely the same passion, except it's anger this time. Before it was hope, hope, hope. Now it's walls. Build the wall. Spy.
All lives matter.
That's
All
right.
lives matter.
And that's the game. We had Clinton for 8 years. We had Bush for 8 years. And we had Obama for 8 years. And here we are. See what we get.
Well, and Kevin, I know Kevin from back in the day, but when I interact with Kevin online, and he could tell you this, what's funny about it, so I'm kind of like the token liberal. I lived in California for 10 years, went to a super, super liberal college for 3 years, and went from completely apathetic to so-called progressivism. And I know how you guys feel about that. So but I know most of the people on my Republican friends pages or Libertarian friends pages, they have such a dim, dismal, negative view of it. But that's okay. I respect everyone's opinions. I'm long past trying to debate people because I know we're all just being divided against each other in a lot of our arguments. But I it's fun interacting with Kevin and libertarians at large there because I like seeing what other segments think. I feel pretty informed, so I feel, I feel secure in my conversations, and I like, sharing information and receiving it. But, Kevin could tell you stories about funny interactions that we have. But I think the most important thing as Americans is Donald Trump talks about unifying. Bernie, and of course Hillary, she's going to say anything, talk about unifying. But I like your point about the emotion. I think where we unify is not on emotion, clearly, because what you've identified is how emotions stratify our political culture. So if you want that warm, fuzzy, feel-good...
The collective eyes, but that's not the real solution. You just use emotion to collectivize a group of people.
I think what would unite us, though, is not emotion, whether it's the warm and fuzzies of Bernie and Obama, or just getting all the angry people together.
I agree.
I think logic and reason are super important, and that's for, me and Kevin have a commonality. I think we're both even-handed. For instance, we both followed the Bundy Ranch story. I predicted very early in the story, I said, look, this is going to end badly. It's going to end in conspiracy theories, and someone's going to try to make themselves a martyr. But I tried to be even-handed.
Too.
Yeah.
But I believe in looking at the facts no matter what, and I was the first, and only liberal that jumped on Kevin's stage and look, here's a link from The Guardian. The FBI improperly concealed evidence at the scene of the shooting, there was clearly something afoul happening here. And I don't think the government has the right to execute anyone in that circumstance. And I think no matter what political spectrum section you occupy, you got to defend everyone against execution by the government.
You're not a good liberal. I can't believe you didn't read the script. There is a script on msnbc.com that you can review, and will tell you that that is not the position you were supposed to take.
Yeah, I don't know if I
Guns
actually...
are bad, first off.
Guns are bad. Can't have them. Not for you.
Oh, we're just ribbing with you.
He knows.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying, on the telephone, I can hear one or two of the other.
That way.
Not as much.
Well, hey, man, and I'll tell you, between myself and you, we've both got some disagreements, but we've obviously, we agree on a couple of different things. And that's exactly, it goes back to what you mentioned a minute ago, Gibson, Scotty, about groups of people working together. Easily both of us could find ourselves at a protest or working on a various cause that we could come together on in two different belief systems entirely and get shit done. And that's how coalitions work, and we definitely need to see more of them in this country because we're very limited to an extent on what kind of political action that we can take, but we need to do it, and it takes people, and it takes mass movement, and it takes ideas and influence. But
let me tell you what I personally believe. Now, you can take this forever how you want to take it. Take it with a grain of salt if you want. I believe that the way that you galvanize people is with emotion. I think we see it with Trump. I think we see it with Bernie, to be honest with you. And I think we saw it with Obama. I think you really see it every time around. That's what these candidates do. They're fear mongers. That's what they've become. Obama sold hope. It was a little bit different, but he turned into a fear monger like the rest of them. I think you have to play the exact same games as them. You have to know what you're dealing with. And I think the challenge for me personally is to use that emotion to galvanize people, but what you're trying to get them towards is not a political candidate or not towards yourself, but it's towards an idea, and that idea is freedom, and that idea is the truth, and exposing the corruption that's going on around us and letting people know that we can do better than this. And you have to realize what's actually going on here, and we're putting up with this. This is nonsense. Why are we doing this? And I feel like that's the challenge. But I think to get a large group of people to do that, I feel like you have to play the game of emotion. And I think, you can sit here and, be the indie record, be the indie artist and sell 100 records, and, be considered cool, or you can go out there and, sell out to the big label and sell 1 million albums. And the goal is to reach people. So you got to sell 1 million albums, and you got to do it how you got to do it.
Who sells 1 million albums anymore, though, really?
Adele.
Yeah.
Adele.
She's kind of cool. She's kind of cool. I like it.
Well, let me, one final thing, and I'll ask a question to you guys. With the major political parties here, or movements, or sectors, they usually, for the purposes of comparative analysis, will identify internationally where they see their comrades or where they see their allies. And this has happened throughout history, communists, whatever. Maybe not capitalism. Capitalism's looking abroad to find new markets more than it is. Well, except for George Bush, he's trying to start democracy in Iraq or some such. But, Bernie,
too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, so, for example, right now you have Bernie comparing Norway and Sweden and Scandinavian countries, and within Europe, you might see various allies. Libertarians, I haven't seen them, I know that it's not a monolithic group, but I'm wondering, outside the United States, are there other parties that you identify with? Are there any European parties or, Australian or what have you, that you see as a model? Because everyone agrees the two-party system sucks. People talk about proportional representation, having more than two parties. But even if you do that, so let's say you have 3, 4, or 5 parties, you still end up a lot of times with center-left or center-right governments, such as Germany, such as England, and many European states. And then, of course, Canada. Great, Stephen Harper was prime minister there for like fucking 14 years. And now it's Justin Trudeau. So my question, I don't really see that often from libertarians. It seems to be a self-contained sort of thing. They might look at the founders, look at early American history, and then maybe, you have a few recent sort of icons like Ron Paul, who I'm sure is just really laughing at the current election cycle.
Oh, he is. He is.
Or crying. He's used to it, though. He's been watching this stuff for his entire adult life. I don't think this really shocks him anymore.
It's no surprise.
I think he said the other day, why can't we get none of the above on the ballot?
Yeah, that's right. He's not endorsing anybody.
Yeah.
Good man.
There's no one to endorse.
He didn't want to get stance, so he's not going to use that.
I like how the nominee's not even picked on either side.
Right.
And he's still like, nope. None of them.
So do you guys, is there a party in a different country that you think's done well? Is there a model that you would aspire to? And if not, what would you consider sort of a basis? And I think that's kind of an interesting question, because right now libertarianism in the United States is still in the growth stages or early stages. It's not united behind a single ideology, and it's trying to be broad. But eventually, as Hillary Clinton loves to say, and any politician, eventually your ideas have to become action. And as Kevin pointed out, the basis for action here tends to be limited. It's you have to have a political party, and you have to have electoral success. And to get that, you often have to have large amounts of money. Although I think Bernie Sanders is kind of undermining that model a little bit, which I think is a good thing. And I'm sure a libertarian candidate who wants to become successful, or maybe that's, I'll stop talking, and that's a separate question, whether libertarians want to have a really strong candidate like pull a Ross Perot or a Donald Trump and catch on fire at the presidential level, or is it just get the governorships and stuff like that?
Well, to be honest with you, there's a lot of libertarians that are not members of the Libertarian Party. There's a lot of people. And hey, Justin, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it, buddy. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, of course.
Get you back online. But there's a lot of people that are not members of the National Libertarian Party that are more anarchist type leaning. We're talking about peaceful anarchists.
I'm not that far.
NAP type folks.
It's to me, it's not this big, oh, I can't believe he would do that kind of thing. It's just, it's not for me. But issue-wise, I'm not that far.
Right.
From a lot of libertarian stuff. There's a few things I disagree with. I don't think, and to the question, a model for, global political parties, I think there's good in a lot, and then I think you can also nitpick everything and find bad. Even when you look at it in U.S. politics, look at something like Justin Amash. You get somebody that has, repeatedly done what they say they're going to do, has taken to Facebook, explained every single vote they've made, why they've made it. And it is transparency to another level. It is what every single politician should aspire to be. Whether you agree with his politics or not is beside the point. It's like, okay, this is what I do. He answers for what he does, whether you like it or not. But then you get, well, he endorsed Ted Cruz. Can you believe that? Can you believe that guy endorsed Ted Cruz? And people start backing off, and that's where you get that division again that we always go back to. That's where the dividing line starts. Can you believe that man?
That was Ted Cruz, though.
Can you believe that man? So, I think you can nitpick every single thing to death. But I think there's a lot of good ideas, and you just get people make mistakes. People are humans. I think just basic principles of don't harm me, freedom. I mean, I know that sounds like such an American French fries, and Hulk Hogan dropped it again. Yep, dropped it like the boot, like that leg.
Dropped it like he did that D in the video.
Yeah.
Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. Yeah.
But, I hate to be that guy with oval freedom. But, honestly, it's really it. And, I don't mean to paint it in this, star-spangled package because I don't care. I don't get, that's how they get people. That's how they get you. You're not like them. You have a different flag. Look at this flag. Look at your flag.
But can I answer Justin's question?
Pay allegiance to it.
Justin had asked about the other parties as far as the Libertarian Party specific, not realizing, I guess, that everybody who calls himself a Libertarian does not belong to the National Libertarian
Does the Libertarian Party have a flag?
But no, we don't.
I bet that's a lie.
We do have
from
a
the pits
symbol.
of hell.
We do have a
I'm
symbol.
looking it up.
We do have a symbol. It's the porcupine.
Oh, I'm going to prove this wrong.
The porcupine,
There
a
it was.
flag. If we do, then I've learned something. But we actually, as I mentioned earlier in the show, we had the lady that represents the Russian Party, Russian Libertarian Party, came over to the U.S. and spoke at our last convention 2 or 3 years ago. And also the Libertarian Party of South Africa actually sent a correspondence, a video, and a lot of interesting stuff that we were able to show at the convention last go around. But what's awesome is, and before I get ahead of myself, I just saw an article posted earlier about, I think it was Freedom, what was it, Freedom, I forget which, now at the time, website. One of the a libertarian educational think tank actually shared it. I'll just see if I can't find it. FEE, that's what it was. FEE.com shared it. But it's about Venezuela and a big libertarian moment kicking off there as people growing tired of what's going on in that country. So, yeah, we have somewhat kind of solidarity. There is a national libertarian, like a global libertarian kind of club, but not all libertarians belong to it. But yeah, we generally all abide by the same principles. That's what I think is really cool about it, and that's being the NAP. And you don't have to be a member of the Libertarian Party, of course, to abide by the non-aggression principle. So yeah, it's cool when you go to the countries. Even Mexico's got.
And who would be against that?
Right.
Who's against that?
Well,
No.
nobody in principle. Probably very few are, but in practice, it's the.
Oh, I bet you there's a lot of people here in this country. No, I don't think you get them to go along with that.
No.
I don't.
Well, it's not to be confused with pacifism, though. Still, I mean, we are big on defense. Obviously, that's why even the Libertarian Party uses the porcupine.
We live in the country where defense is invasion. Okay?
Oh, right, I agree.
The
So
best defense is a good
yeah.
offense. Yeah.
But what's
so
the
I don't
alternative?
think that would fly with a lot of these hit redneck America. Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't have
Kyle.
to. It doesn't have to be. I mean, not everybody's going to bend to the wheels of how we want everything to be run. So, that's.
And that's okay. That's okay that everybody's different. It's okay that people have different ideas. Everybody should be free to do so, and then not harming anybody in the process. The end. I mean, how is that a difficult concept? And I don't know what can be said except that over and over and over, and having to find different ways of saying it. But that's basically, how it should be. And there should be a limited structure set up in place for our actual real defense, not policing the world, but real defense. And if somebody messes with you, defend yourself. Be able to throw down.
And with our
But
armament and technology,
You don't
we're
have to
able
have
throw down
bases
with
in
the
over
best.
100 countries
Nope.
to be able to do that.
Nope.
When you have bases in 100 countries, that's called an empire.
We got satellites. We can see every single square inch of this earth.
You better believe it. You better
What they're
believe they
doing
can.
as it's happening in real time.
But that Bin Laden story, that's cute. I don't care if people think I'm crazy. That's fine. Let 'em.
You are crazy.
Let 'em.
That's
Oh,
been well
yeah.
established on the show many
Yeah,
times.
that's so they say, man.
That's what they want you to
I'm
believe.
just kidding. That's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think, man. So, I do see your point, Kevin, and I respect you for it. As far as going the path of of the party, because at the end of the day, you're promoting values of principle to
The non-aggression principle.
That's it. You're not trying to enforce
And that.
anything on me. I'm cool with that. I think that's great. I think more people should be involved with it, to be honest with you.
Well, and even a lot of the guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen that are with the national party, or excuse me, in the state party, for instance, are not limited to just going to state functions. We go to a lot of other protests. We go to a lot of other rallies. We do ballot access for issues for other such. Do educational drives. We've done a couple of things for the homeless shelter. We go down there and serve dinner periodically. So we do a lot of other things as well, and explaining to people that in other states, people are being arrested for doing that. So it's just another avenue to go out and educate. So it's not limited to just strictly Libertarian Party stuff. So libertarians out there, you don't have to be a member of a party, but get your ass up off the couch and start doing something besides sitting on the internet and talking to your friends, sharing memes. Hey, that's well and all good. But until you start actually influencing people, and I'm not telling you to go out and vote, but as soon as we start influencing, that's how this works. Unfortunately, we can't use the power of the state. The state's going to do what the state does. It's not going to be a friend of liberty. It's up to us. So, hey, all we've got is influence. So think about that when you're trying to think about what you're after.
This is, I think, the most important thing to remember, and I think so much is lost, especially in the way society is structured, and especially with modern media. But everything is labeled very collectively, and they see this establishment does this, or that's the Hollywood establishment, or that's this industry, whatever. You can sit there and divide everything to being different, however. And I'm just one person going against that big machine. That's what people think. And they forget that it's just people, just like them. It's just people, okay? It's not a big, huge, heavy machine. Now, these people a few of them may be colluding, and then it may be trickling down. I don't know. But what I do know is it's just people. And you're a person, I'm a person. If they can do things that I disagree with, then I can say, hey, stop doing that. It's that simple. There's not this huge, giant thing to come down on you. It's all just people. With that being said, yes, there is a structure in place that is really scary. But the structure is still ran by people. So why can't we rise up? That's what it is. And it's peaceful. There's no violence. That's stupid. That's what we just got done talking about with the non-aggression principle. That's ridiculous. Can't let anybody hurt me. Why don't I hurt anybody? That's my thought.
So how can we apply the non-aggression principle to all of these violent factions?
Well, that's how the government gets their point across, is violence. No matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about a situation in Ferguson, Missouri, or you're talking about a situation halfway across the world, they're going to get their point across with violence one way or another. If things don't go their way, that's the last resort. And that's why I'm saying, ooh, Cleveland, watch out. It's going to get real up there.
So what's the answer to the question that I just asked? That's tough, man.
It is.
Got 20 seconds left.
That's the scary
You can
part.
phone a friend.
Can you use a lifeline?
We have more than 20 seconds left, by the way.
Good.
You don't. I have to answer the question.
Yeah. It's
You
not.
hear all that freedom outside the windows there?
That's it.
This whole chorus of sirens.
Well, it gets
Freedom.
loud at night around here.
Yeah, it does.
That's okay.
You don't live in the ghetto anymore. It's nice and gentrified up in here.
Yeah, the trendies are moving in.
Was that a post office pies box I saw in there?
Yeah,
Really?
it's good.
I'm going to take a break, fellas. I'll be back in a minute.
They can give me no money. Don't say their name on this radio show. No,
Hey,
it really is
they
good.
got some good pies.
They probably
man.
bitch it to the guy.
Post Office Pies in Avondale, Alabama.
Probably some
Ooh,
of
that
Birmingham's
sounds
finest. Yeah, it's some good pizza. It really is.
So Shannon,
So
yeah. In all seriousness, though, it really is about a movement of non-aggression towards your brother. Treat people how you want to be treated, okay? And I think that should resort in all aspects, not this, oh, we're going to get them. I think people are so easy. I think you really get that here in the South. Turn the other cheek. You need to turn the other cheek. Did you hear what happened over? I hope they get them. I hope they just take them.
They need to string them
Right,
up.
yep,
They
get
need to
'em.
make an electric bench and put 6 of them in a row.
Yeah.
And just
Every time. Did you hear what happened in that other country? No. Oh, bomb them. They're bad people. They're going to hurt us. That's what you get. You get every single... That's what... Turn on Fox News. That's what you hear. They're going to get
they
us.
want to oppress us and
They're gonna get us.
take our American freedoms away from us.
That's it.
ISIS.
Fear.
Al-Qaeda.
Fear! Timothy McVeigh is your friend.
Oh, that guy. You're not going to let that die, are you?
Nope. It's not happening. It's going to be a thing.
I hope so. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Your overlord, Timothy McVeigh. He's going to be in charge. And you will get liberty by my iron fist.
I want everybody
And I will
within
be a
earshot of my
tyrant.
voice to realize that
I'll
I have
issue
nothing to
freedom
do with this,
through
and I do
tyranny.
not condone nor endorse what he's saying at the moment. Please,
What?
he's lying.
please-
In fact, they were just setting it up.
please
for
continue.
Have
cigarette
you
smoke break.
seen the...
They're both tyrants.
Let me tell my secrets on there.
Have you... Okay,
Yeah.
you got me off.
I did, man.
Oh, my God.
We have
I
seen
just
it
blew your
Guess
mind.
what?
twice.
How much time left? Fired. Boom. Gone.
Ah!
That's it.
Hey, you pointed at Kevin. You didn't point at me.
No,
He
you're
did.
still
He
here.
pointed at you.
I'm still here.
He pointed at you.
No, you hush. 'cause
You
you're
threw it
fired
off,
now.
Kevin. It's your fault.
You were doing so well too. I had hopes for you, like making it the whole entire show. But
Tried, man.
Kevin, we gotta let you go. Well, now
I
you,
mean,
now,
as I get home an hour or 10 minutes closer, I get out of this traffic.
now
It's
you
so
still have to
horrible
show
outside.
up Thursday. Well, we'll try this whole thing again.
Hey,
we'll,
what's going on down there?
we'll put you in a probationary. I told you, man.
Freedom.
There's freedom. There's all sorts of like flashing
Pow,
lights
pow,
of freedom
pow,
down the road.
Pow, pow, freedom.
There's been a lot of freedom over in this neighborhood lately. Whew.
Yeah, they're out in full force around here now.
That's just where the money is right now. You know, where it's funny where we used to sit. I lived here right across the street 20 years ago. It's so funny, the cycle of life.
Man, you're old.
Shut the oh my anger. Anyways, when I lived over here though, it was definitely not the best part of town. And gentrification, man.
Yeah, it's happened.
You can't buy a house over here now under 6 figures.
Oh no. That's what but you're seeing it over the country right now. I think you're seeing gentrification in a lot of areas of the country, and I think a lot of people are losing the neighborhoods they grew up in. But at the same time, on the flip side, not to be that guy, people, freedom, move in.
Yeah.
Come on, you're gonna do it. Do it.
The cool thing is that there are a lot of locally
Shouldn't
owned
be stopped.
businesses down the street. A lot of private individuals.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Living the American dream.
I know that's
I'm all
horrible,
about it.
but as long as
Post
nobody's
office
getting
pies will
harmed.
name drop them. My folks, the folks down at Saturn.
The rent part's what aggravates me is that you're forcing people out. That I don't like. That's the part that I don't care for because
Yeah.
people that you're forcing people out of their homes by raising rents because there's a new hip club down the street.
But at the same time, that's the market.
Well, and a
you
lot of
can't
times,
argue with the market.
That's
Luckily, this is an area that government didn't have anything to do
it doesn't.
Well, let's keep
Direction.
in mind. Now,
Correct.
wait a second. Directly, maybe not. But when we look, oftentimes when renters go up on rent, it's due to increases in what? In the overhead or cost of the building, of the house. And that always includes, besides repairs, property taxes.
Oh, yes.
If this place just experienced a big growth, I think you mentioned a club or something down the road, If a place, you know,
Avondale's blowing up right now.
Oh yeah.
and what happens? Property taxes are going up on individuals, and on who can least afford it, who have the least amount of disposable income to go towards taxes, and these people are getting hurt by this. And so, yeah, this does happen.
Can somebody explain to me how these people are even allowed to pass laws anymore with just one going to jail after another?
Because people advocate. Well, I'll let Shannon handle this first.
I think that's handled at the polls. I do believe, isn't it? Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. I know.
We're apparently the ones that put them in. So who's to blame? I mean, really?
Negative.
It's not us. No, that's a cop out. It's not us to blame. For one, the system is there, and I'm not advocating full.
Right, I don't think it is us to blame. Well,
but we've given them the power. That's where I'm going.
It's a very complex issue. It's a very complex.
No,
issue.
if nobody voted right now at all, they would still have the power. So we didn't give them the power. They already have, in theory, yes, they don't have any power. But
so
they
how do we
have
take
power.
the power from them?
Well, obviously, it's a multi-step process, obviously, but it's not going to happen by not
Coming up on the next episode of Anti-Media Radio.
We're going to lay it out there.
We're going to lay it out there.
Tune
the
in.
secret revealed.
Oh yeah.
We're going to open the vault.
2 shows.
Read the scroll.
It's going to be 2 shows. That's how big it's going to be.
Special guest Geraldo Rivera.
It's going to be 4 hours.
But honestly, I would, if there's a lot of different schools of thought on this. A lot of people really have a disdain for others that do vote Libertarian or not. But I would encourage anybody out there, if you're looking to get involved.
Or vote for any of the other third parties that are floating around. We have
there's nothing wrong with it.
Reform Party still kicking.
There's nothing wrong
the
with
Green
it
Party.
at all. I hate it. I hate it when people are like, oh, you voted. I know I come across that way too. I know
Vermin
I do.
freaking Supreme.
But
why have the Libertarians tapped him anyways? Vermin Supreme is awesome. He would make a great Libertarian.
Yeah, he'd make a better... I don't know.
You know, Kevin's suddenly quiet over here now.
Yeah, what's your issues with Vermin Supreme?
He really does. He has an issue.
I have nothing, no issue for Bourbon Supreme whatsoever.
Yes.
That's the man with the oral hygiene plan.
That's awesome.
We talk about it's a joke talking about political parties, but we spend so much time talking about Bourbon Supreme that
what's it matter?
Vermin Supreme.
It's all
awesome,
what?
by the
Okay,
way.
okay, wait.
I'm not implying that it does, but if we're to criticize this, I mean, it just seems.
All right, then what criticisms do you have of Vermin Supreme? No, let's go and follow this bunny trail. Just
I didn't say I did. There was no getting off on Vermin Supreme.
That's
Okay,
my man.
I
Love that guy.
do you believe that the candidates that are left in this presidential race, other than arguably Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump,
Of which Vermin Supreme still is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, and we can have that conversation, but argue with them too. And this is the first 2 in a long time that are not corporately controlled.
And Gary Johnson, before Kevin says anything,
Yeah,
give everybody
yeah.
equal airtime tonight.
Yeah.
What was the question? Are you gonna finish it?
Yes,
Oh, he's getting testy over here. Now. I like
Yeah,
this.
he's getting mad.
No.
Who's not corporately controlled? Which candidate's not corporately controlled? Which candidate?
I need to add. I'm sorry. I
Vermin
am in
Supreme.
so much pain right now. My right knee is like killing me. That's what I was. So I didn't mean to come across as a jerk when I said that. So to add,
You're getting old.
Did
somebody just call me old a minute?
I've
You're
had
the
that.
one that's getting old.
I've had this was a skating injury from a long time ago.
Skater
Skating.
dude.
Skating and rolling.
Skater dude.
Anyways,
Like roller rink skating?
no, like rollerblading.
Oh, that's hip.
Down the
I
hand.
was- I
That's
thought-
hip.
I thought you were talking about
me-
skateboard.
Yeah, me and your brother used to
thought you-
actually go and skate the skate
I thought you
parks.
went to sock
really?
hops.
No, we rollerblade.
Oh,
We skate the handrails and the ramps.
So
and-
90s.
I missed
Debbie.
it. I
Oh,
missed the
I know,
skate
man.
parks
It's
around
great.
here.
But anyways,
we're going to get the answer one day, guys.
what was the question?
Somebody's going to call in and give it to us because we're clearly not going to figure it
No.
out.
Yeah.
No,
Somebody's going to call and give us the
you asked
answer.
if there was one candidate that would.
Yeah, that's not corporately controlled.
No,
Right.
well, controlled. Well, How do you determine, controlled? I'll tell you this much. I don't like.
Do you believe that the parties are corporately controlled? The two-party system.
Yes.
Well, I
yes,
tell
you do.
Bought and paid.
Oh,
for.
Right, of course you do. What I'm saying is, so it's it's the puppet regime. That's what it is.
Follow
We don't
the
have
money.
a choice. They're going to shove that candidate down your throat. We saw it with Romney. We saw it with Obama. We saw it with John McCain. We saw it with John Kerry. We saw it with Bush. This is what you get over and over and over.
If Trump gets into office, then we're going to realize then
We are seeing a different thing with Trump.
and I think we're going to continue to see it because once it's broken, it's going to.
And even Bernie's a different thing because he's not getting the big money.
He's advertised as a different thing, just like Barack Obama was. Come on now, change and hope.
Oh, of course.
I
No.
hope I can get me some free whatever.
I don't
I'm
think
not-
either of us expect some kind of huge turnaround, like a light switch, 180 degrees. All of a
But
sudden,
yeah,
utopia has arrived. We're not expecting
Oh,
that.
I think people do believe that.
I
think
know.
there's
I'm saying
people that believe
you and
that.
I do not, as Shannon was about to address.
But you're talking about Bernie's support as far as basically him being a walking GoFundMe.
Right.
Okay, I got you. Sorry.
Well, it sounds similar to the criticism of Trump. A lot of his stuff comes off the website, donations from people off the interwebs.
Yeah, he said he's not.
But yet he's clearly self-funding his campaign. Except don't ask me what self-funding means because I use a different definition.
Oh,
than us
yeah.
poor folks.
He's trickier than Clinton on that
Oh,
stuff.
dude, he's sly as a fox, man.
Man, he'll just
He
start.
is.
Yeah, he'll make words
He
up
will
if
be-
he has to get out of something.
This will be the campaign that future generations look back and say, they used to have this system called, and they'll describe it and they'll point out this election as the example of how to
I do believe-
conquer
I do.
the establishment.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't think that at all. I think this is the...
You're wrong.
Really? I think this is the model of how to take over.
Oh, no, I'm agreed. No, I'm not saying that Donald Trump is any kind of liberty supporter or is going to come in there and do anything,
You think?
anything great. No.
I think, honestly, now, okay, I'm not sitting here, I'm not making the he's Hitler argument. I'm not saying that.
No.
But what I am saying is I do believe we're getting... we're flirting with the same ideas and emotions that when we've always asked the question, how did Hitler get into power? We're seeing it. I think this emotion, I think people get fed up. They were in a horrendous depression, and they needed to get out of it. And Adolf Hitler was like, I'm going to fix these problems. Let's do this thing. And Trump literally is saying that stuff. I alone can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I am Donald Trump.
That's
It's
exactly
going to be
right.
great. It's going to be wonderful.
And I think he's
So
got...
y'all are
he's-
gonna love it.
It's an emotional response. And again, that's not... You saw it with Obama too again, but no, this is way more similar, I think.
Very.
But that's not to sit here and compare him. I think it's just the same emotion running through a collective group of people.
Yeah, you're right.
People feel hopeless. They're angry. Okay, that's, I think in 2008, people were like, we want to believe in something. We want things to change. We want hope. And they did it. And guess what? It didn't change. We still bombed 8 countries.
Mm-hmm.
People are still, not getting paid well at these crap jobs if they have a job. People can't aspire to be what they once could. Now that hope that they once had has turned to anger. And we're seeing that anger manifest through both Bernie and Trump. I think the Bernie people are a little bit more ideal, they're optimistic a little bit. They're just, I think, delusional, but that's neither here nor there. But I think there's more of a less anger, but there's still an anger because they're rebelling against the Hillary Clintons. They're rebelling against the Democratic Party. Let's not forget that Bernie Sanders is an independent. And the Democratic Party is definitely paying attention to that, whether they talk about it on your television or not. So we're definitely seeing people moving away from both parties. One's moving a lot faster off of a cliff than the other, but we're seeing both of them come down.
Well, and I don't think anybody's really paid.
The question is, what will replace what we're seeing?
You ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
That's what it looks like. What's going to be, but okay, look, that's what's going to end it. But I think something comes out of it. I mean, we're going to see that. It's going to only get worse. You're going to see Idiocracy. It'll get worse before it gets better. But I think, what happens after the anger? Where do people go then? We saw optimism. Now we're seeing their anger. What happens when they're disappointed after that? I just don't believe that the two parties will be here much longer. Now, again, what replaces them, I do not know.
Yeah, because there's always got to be a conflict, and there's always got to be a struggle, and there's got to be a right and a wrong.
You better believe it.
A Team Edward and a Team Jacob.
And especially with this Mexico business that we're talking about, extortion which would collapse their economy, and we're talking about breaking up one party. They're talking about on national television every day. It's to that level. The other one, it seems like it'll probably take a bit longer. But if Trump gets in office, that much longer, who knows? Maybe they'll unite. I don't know.
When it comes to that subject, though, at what point in time do we collectively start to feel compassion toward our fellow man?
We should now. I don't understand why we don't now. Because there's an invisible line that says they're different. They're not like you. But it's weird because you don't look at somebody from Oregon and go, they're different. They're just like, they're from Oregon.
I don't know. Have you ever seen Portlandia? Because
it's... Oh, I lived in the Northwest. They're freaks. I know. Yeah. They're way different. But that's neither here nor there.
Theory destroyed.
Well, no, it's not theory destroyed.
Let's talk about wrestling for the final 5 minutes.
No, it's no. I'm talking about that's actually going up there and living, not going on a visit. That was living for a year and a half. But
it was nice. I came and visited you. I visited you. It was wonderful.
Okay.
I loved it.
So, anyways.
Seattle. Yeah.
The point being is people's perception, and people that haven't gone and traveled abroad, they have a perception of who somebody is. And if you hear so-and-so lives in Oregon, well, they're a good American. That's okay. Don't even think twice about it. They're a good American. You hear Mexico, but they're up to something shady. But they were taking a job or transporting drugs, stealing. Shady Mexicans. And that's people's opinion. That's how they look at it. You say, okay, they're from Arizona. Well, that's okay. They're still an American. But you cross that invisible line, and guess what? I don't know about that. And then, depending on which country you're in or which area of this country you're in, you get different perceptions.
Well, my personal experience.
But when you actually meet and get to know somebody, you're like, oh, wow, they're a human being. Who'd have thought?
My personal experience with illegal immigrants is actually in the ditches, is in a ditch. And I will have several Americans standing over at the ditch watching us dig. And I'm looking over. And I'm sorry, man. It's gotten down to a point where personal responsibility has to come into play. And I think that has a lot to do with a lot of the topics we cover tonight. Is that we really do need to be responsible for our own corner. Nobody's going to take your job if you prove yourself to be indispensable.
I tell you what, we've only got a couple more minutes here on Anti-Media Radio. Make sure to listen every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific at www.ucy/TAMR. I am SM Gibson. Thank you, Shannon, Matt, and Kevin Knight for being in studio with us tonight here on Anti-Media Radio.
Later, Gator.
Peace out. Out.
I'ma let them know through the stereo. Yo, here we go through the stereo.